Hello, thanks for joining us. With me, it's Russell Kane and Alan Johnson. Coming up today. Could Nana please make her way to the lunch aisle? That's Nana to the lunch aisle. She's our star queen who's dressed everyone from Eva Longoria to Little Mix, and now Nana Anchampong has been pushing her trolley around the supermarkets to find the best outfits for you.
Yes, I have. From Asda to Tesco's, Morrison's to Sainsbury's, I have found some amazing buys, including a dress that you can wear all year round for only £12.
And it's not just supermarket clothes we love. Who doesn't love a rummage in the whoopsie aisle? Especially if you don't stress about expiry dates. Jackie Bailey from Love Food Hate Waste is here to give us a masterclass in use-by dates, including the food that can last a whopping 300 years. And today, we've got two gobs for the price of one. Comedian and ventriloquist Paul Zerdin is here with his puppet pal, Sam. Sam, do you get fed up of Paul speaking for you all the time?
Hello, Steph. Yes, I've had enough.
What do you mean?
Yes, it's over.
What?
That's it. I'm going on strike. I shall no longer move my mouth.
Oh, no! And he's more Muppet than puppet. Freddie Forster's in the kitchen.
I love you too, Steph.
Yeah, you're making one of your favourite dishes, aren't you?
Absolutely. I'm making a delicious phyllo pastry pie stuffed with vegetables and halloumi. Absolutely super tasty, cost-effective. What more could you want, Steph?
Nothing more. All sounds fabulous. Welcome to Steph's Pack a Lunch, live from Leeds. I don't think you're a Muppet, really.
I know that.
Yeah.
Steph, I know that.
I noticed you've got a new bow tie.
Yeah, this bow tie actually was given to me sent to me by Amanda. So, Amanda, if you're watching, thank you very much. It was a Christmas present from her.
Ah, is Amanda one of our viewers?
She's one of our viewers. She loves watching the show. She loves all the dishes, and she's a great fan of ours. So, yeah.
Ah, that's lovely.
Thank you.
I like that.
You'll turn up in your back garden. I love you, Freddie.
Thank you, Amanda. We appreciate that. Right, we're going to have a look at what's in the news today. So I want to talk about retiring. Not you, Russell, don't worry. Or not me with my croaky voice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Millions of people in the UK could have the retirement age raised to 68 by 2035. That's according to reports. It's thought the proposal is going to be announced in the March budget. Alan, what's going on here then?
Well, over in France, there's almost another French revolution because Macron is looking to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64. Actually, we shouldn't call it the retirement age. It's the age at which you get the state pension.
Yeah.
You can retire anytime you want, but you don't get a state pension in this country until you're 66, due to go up to 67 in 2028, due to go up to that age that they're talking about now in 2046. And now they're saying they're going to bring that forward to 2035. I think we're on the right track, whereas France is on the wrong track, because as people are healthier and living longer, the country just cannot afford to pay out a pension for a long period, given that it's the people who are working who are paying for the pensions you're paying out now. There's not some big safe where people put it into in the past and now you take it out. It's the working population. And it's something called the dependency ratio. Don't roll your eyes or fall asleep. But when the state pension was introduced, there were about 15 people working for every person retired. Now it's getting close in this country to 2 people working for every person retired. I mean, that's the dependency ratio. So that's why we need overseas workers, by the way.
So that's partly because the birth rate's fallen and things like that.
Birth rate's fallen, people are healthier, living longer, great stuff.
Yeah.
But so, you know, it used to be the case you got your pension at 65 and dropped dead at 67. Now people live much, much longer. Now society has to adjust to that, which is why I think we're doing the right thing. I was in Parliament, I agreed to it going, you know, in 2046 to that age, to 68. I think it's too short a notice to say you're suddenly going to bring that back.
Well, that's it. People prepare, don't they?
They prepare, they plan. Will they buy a house? Well, hang on, you know, you've got to look long-term at this. If I'm going to be on a state pension and going to be retired. So all of that means you give it at least 25, 30 years notice.
Yeah, Russell, you think it's wrong, don't you, to increase the age at which you get...
I've got strong opinions about this because I come from a family of, like, grafters, you know, scaffolders, builders. My dad was a lagger. He did drop down dead before he could even get to the retirement age. My mum's current partner, mum's got a boyfriend. My mum's boyfriend. He's a carpenter. What I'm saying is, anyone who's got a mum or a dad who's out on a building site all day, scaffolding, how can you say they have the same retirement age as a solicitor or a barrister? We grade everything else by income and age through school and when we're earning. Why can't there be a certain group of professions where you retire at 60? Trust me, a 60-year-old builder's body is like an 80-year-old man's body. It is knackered. They are ready to retire. A barrister... I mean, you have judges in their 80s. A barrister's good to go into their 70s, and there could be grades of professions in between.
Well, I guess that's like the police, because quite often in the police
they retire earlier. Firefighters retire earlier. I mean, Russell's point is absolutely right. We could never find a mechanism to do that, because your builder might decide when they get to 50 that they won't be a builder anymore. Do you look at how many years they've spent as a builder? I mean, Russell's right. If I was still a postman, you know, I wouldn't be still doing a post round riding a bike and all that.
No, but you'd have upped the birth rate, wouldn't you?
I'd have upped the birth rate. Listen, what I did for my Christmas boxes is a matter for me.
Don't call them Christmas boxes, Alan, it's daytime.
Well, I've never got a bow tie, that's for sure.
Freddie, in hospitality, there is a real problem with that. You know, Alan was mentioning there about staffing and things. And so could you see a way in which older people could be welcomed into the hospitality industry a bit more?
I mean, it's a massive problem for us right now. I mean, we actually have a number of elderly people who actually are at the Ritz Hotel who do various jobs in hospitality. And we've got one gentleman who does a great job for us with the main team and in other departments as well. And I think we are such a dearth of staff for us in general that we will take any help we can possibly get, to be quite frank with you, really. So I wouldn't discriminate on that whatsoever. If it was possible to have elderly people in and they were able to work, we'll take them by all accounts, absolutely.
Yeah. Joyce, you're 69, aren't you? And you...
2nd of March, and the party's on the 4th of March. Hope you're coming.
Excellent. Well, you did retire, didn't you? And then you went back into work.
Yeah.
Tell us what happened.
I retired at 62. And then I became self-employed, and it's the best thing I could have done. I want to work, and I think that it's a matter of choice, and I think people should have choice, not you can't retire until you're 72. And as you say, Russell, being on a building site is ridiculous. I think there should be some element of choice here.
Yeah. Michelle, what do you think?
Well, I'm 60, right? And I started a business. No. I am. I'm 60. I don't look good, like, but there you go. So anyway, I started my own business only 3 years ago, a knitting business. But do you know what? I just think if people enjoy what they do and they want to keep going and going and going like I do, I honestly think it depends on what you're doing. If you enjoy what you do, then fine. But obviously, a builder, because my hubby's a builder, it's graft. It's real. I'm not saying I don't graft, because I do graft, but it's a different graft, isn't it?
Your body and your joints and your health is wearing out. But there is a difference between life expectancy, between someone who works as a builder the whole life and someone who works as a lawyer. It's uncomfortable, but that is a fact of life.
But I guess it's about the affordability issue in all of this, Alan, though, isn't it? Because we're not, as you said, we're not saying you can't retire earlier, but there'll be lots of people who can't afford to retire without getting the state pension.
Well, that's another reason why they shouldn't bring it forward to 2035, in my view, because we introduced something called auto-enrolment, but it means that every youngster and their employer had to pay in to an occupational pension to supplement the state pension. The state pension's very low. Was never designed to be something you lived on in this country, but there were lots of occupational pensions, but the people opted out of them. Now... or they had to opt into them previously. Now you're in a pension scheme unless you opt out, which makes a huge difference. And it means that by the 2040s, the people who are coming through that gap will have something, you know, a tangible, credible income to retire on. But they won't by 2035.
Yeah. We're actually running a poll about this on our socials, so you can vote on whether or not you would be happy to work until the age of 68. Just head to Twitter, search @PackLunchC4. Now, moving on now to Ghislaine Maxwell. This is, of course, the woman jailed for conspiring with sex offender Jeffrey Epstein to sexually abuse minors. Well, she's given an interview from inside prison. Broadcast on Talk TV, Maxwell talked about her upset for no longer being allowed to remain friends with Prince Andrew and said she regrets her relationship with Epstein. Let's take a look.
I obviously wish I'd never met him. You know, looking back now, I probably wish I had stayed in England. But leaving that aside, you know, I tried to leave and start a new job and move on from the end of 98, 99. So I wish that I had been more successful at moving on.
OK, there's Gillian Maxwell there via phone, giving her account of her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein there. Alan, should she have been allowed to do this, to do an interview from prison?
She wouldn't in this country. In this country, up until 2002, you couldn't give an interview to a press journalist over the phone. That changed because there were issues about some people claiming they'd been banged up wrongly, they were innocent, and it was seen as being preventing them from carrying on a campaign from inside prison. But I see nothing in the regulations, and they're very strict regulations that apply to prisons, that allow you to be filmed. I mean, that looked like a Zoom camera.
Yeah.
To be filmed and then broadcast. I mean, it's an interview with Talk TV. She's in prison. I mean, leave aside whether she was innocent or guilty or what. Once you have your freedom taken away from you, once you're doing a sentence, it should also mean the freedom to appear before the cameras. And so that would never have happened. I think there's lots of states in America where it wouldn't have happened. This was Florida.
Yeah.
Maybe they have more lax rules about prisoners there.
Yeah. Russell, you do think prisoners should be able to talk, don't you?
It depends what they're talking about. If we're going to take her version of the truth when she's in the slammer for lying and fabricating her past, no. But I think it's the same with, like, should we learn about World War II and watch the speeches of Hitler, blah, blah? Yes, we should, so history doesn't repeat itself. When people are predators, I want to know how did they get to that mindset? How did the system fail where she was allowed to operate? And often, hearing it from the mouths of the very offenders can be helpful. I mean, I'm not alone here.
Why, though? Why do you want to hear all that?
Because I don't want it to happen again. I've got a daughter. I mean, what can we? Anything else that goes wrong in history, we study it to try and stop the conditions repeating themselves. What is the difference between a serial offender or a serial killer? I mean, Piers Morgan does whole series where he speaks to killers on the inside. It's not just the gratuitous element of it. You're trying to learn as a human being what can go wrong in another human being's head where they get to that place. What are the signs I could look out for someone in my...
You've got prison psychologists to do that. Prison psychologists feed that stuff
And
back.
what about the victims?
Yeah, of course.
Like,
we need to hear more. We need to hear more from them. That's the other thing that goes wrong in these procedures. We focus on the villains and we never hear the victims' stories.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I agree with that, with what you're saying. And when you say about the victim, I think it must be very hard for the victim. But I think also victims sometimes want to hear it themselves, I think, sometimes, from what the perpetrator's actually sort of done. It's almost a form of comfort, I believe, to a certain degree, in some cases.
But should that be broadcast on telly?
Exactly.
That's the case.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. That's obviously a decision that probably has to be sort of taken very lightly. But I think hearing what they've got to say, I think, is of great importance to a certain degree.
Ashley, you don't think you should do you?
No, I think the whole thing sort of, going back to what you said about, Alan was saying about the victims and that, it's kind of glamorising it, you're putting it on TV, we've got a justice system to deal with that. I mean, I can speak from experience where quite a while back now we were burgled. I wouldn't want my burglar to be on there saying, oh, yes, well, I did it because of that reason. We let the justice system prevail and take its course, really.
We had a burglar on this show talking about how he broke into people's houses and why. And I went home and changed my home security.
But not from prison, though. This was
not necessarily from. But
a fair bit of
the point I'm trying to make is when you shine a light at a monster, sometimes you can learn about the monster and stop. It can be helpful. I know it's uncomfortable, but some helpful things are.
Khadija, you've worked in prisons, haven't you? What do you think?
Steph. Yeah, I've worked in prisons on and off as a tutor for creative writing. One of the things that you can't ask them is about their crime, but you can have general conversations. You're there to support them in their writing. And I think that people should be able to tell their story. I do feel sorry for the victims. I'm not sure that I would go as far as saying they should be on TV to glamorise it in the way that people might think it is. But sometimes we should look at reform. The prison system is about reform in the hope that the person regrets what they've done and they can come out a better person. But it also depends on the crime. But I think people should be able to tell their stories. OK,
right, let's move on, because I want to talk now about the pressure to have kids because singer Cheryl has come out and said that she's no longer set on having a second child. You might remember Cheryl already has a son, Bear, with ex-boyfriend Liam Payne, and she said in 2020 that she wanted to use a sperm donor to have another child. However, since the pandemic, her attitude has completely changed. She says it's partly because there would be a bigger age gap between the two children, and goes on to say her age has played a factor in her decision as well because she's 39. You're getting pressured at the moment, aren't you, Russell, about having another?
We're leaving the window of pressure. So Minna is 7. And for as soon as Minna hit 1 year, the wink, wink, nudge, nudge, or when's the next one coming starts, as though it's not our business. It really does my head in. We're one and done, OK? I looked down at the massive impact on my life a baby made and I thought, let's not double that. That's my maximum emotional fertility has been exhausted.
Have you had that thing I've had as well? Because obviously I've got one child, and I've had that thing where I'm told, oh, but she'll be lonely.
And it's nonsense, because how many people, do you know, I argued with my brother. My mum said she used to have to take my newborn brother into the bathroom with her while I was at the door going, let me hurt him, mother. Like, it was stressful.
Started young with Russell, didn't they?
A lot of kids don't get on.
Yeah.
We're getting pressured all the time. Lindsay feels more strongly than me. She wants me to go and have a vasectomy. She wants me to go and get neutered. I won't, obviously, because of my next wife. That would not be fair.
That wouldn't be fair. Or the third one.
Yeah, exactly. No, but in all seriousness, we're one and done, and it's people. There is a stigma if you've got an only child. Like
also, I'm an only child, and like I've done all right for myself.
But people make you feel like you're
happy, and I've got friends.
You're making your kid miss out on something on purpose by having one child. That's the implication. Well, my holidays are 25% cheaper. Get in.
But I wonder what pressure must have been on that poor woman to call her child Bear. That's what I worry about.
Don't get judgy, Alan.
Exactly.
Go on, Freddie. Have you felt the pressure?
I mean, I certainly have felt the pressure, not from my partner. My partner, you know, when we met, basically, I knew she wanted to have another child, you know, and obviously I had one already from a previous relationship, you know, and to be honest with you, I thought I was one and done, to be honest with you. I was pretty happy with that, you know, but I knew she wanted one, and I felt under pressure myself to be able to really sort of deliver, not from the point of, you know, delivering the baby.
Push,
I'm a postman.
A little bit of parsley on there on the amniotic fluid.
But in the sense of, you know, having to provide, the pressure of having to provide, the responsibility, it really was quite difficult for me to sort of take on board the first time around. But obviously I'm so proud of my youngest son, you know, Tristan. We love him with all my heart, you know, so that's never been in doubt. But the internal pressure that I felt that I put on myself was immense. And I think something that gets forgotten.
Steph, what about you? Are you obviously the producer wants to know if you're going to need scheduled time off, so... No, are you getting the pressure then? Because you mentioned it.
Yeah, totally, because my little girl now is 3.
That's the worst age to get the pressure.
And then, you know, and at various points I've thought, we might not, I don't know. But you do then start to get... No, I haven't really had it from family, but more just from strangers more than anything.
Eyebrow raised.
Like people on the train who will go, oh, you're going to have another one now. Oh, you want to get another one. They'll keep each other company on holiday. And, you know, and I'm sure, I know that, you know, I've got plenty of people in my life who've got siblings. I don't, but... It does feel pressure, because then you go, am I giving my daughter the best life if she's not with, if she hasn't got a brother or sister? Because then, you know, things that I worry about as an only child are like my parents getting older and me having to deal with that on my own without a sibling. And but then my partner's like, well, I'll help you. It'll be fine.
And also, your daughter will be grown up as well. And
so we'll make her
relationship with the grandparents.
You might be getting pressure from the government soon, because the birth rate's falling.
Yeah,
things we were talking about before.
Alan will be back on his round.
Sandra and Dave, you've had this in your house as well, haven't you, when you had your kids?
Yeah, we had it. It was the opposite, really, because everyone was advising me not to have a second child. So I had 3 miscarriages and a suspected ectopic pregnancy. And my GP, my parents, my friends, and even David, because of my fragile mental state at the time, were all saying, you know what, you should be grateful. You've got one and you need to put all your energy and focus onto that one child. But that was not helpful, because my inner me just wanted a second child. That's what I wanted. And no amount of anybody trying to put me off was helpful. I was blinkered. But David, he really struggled with that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I mean, I found it really difficult, because I could see Sandra struggling with it, but I was of the opinion, like, we've got one child, we should be grateful. But then, you know, you're married, it's a partnership, and And it was a difficult time, but fortunately, Sandra was right.
As always.
As always. And she keeps telling me all these years later that she was right about it. When we had a lovely.
And the point is, you don't know, do you, at the time? That's the thing that makes this even harder. And obviously, we're talking about some tough stuff here as well. So if you need any support on anything we've just been talking about, have a look at our support pages, channel4.com/support. This is what we want you to get in touch about today as well. Your thoughts on the pressure to have more children. Maybe you already have one child and are sick of people asking you to have more, or perhaps you're an only child and you wish you had siblings. Send us your comments at PackLunchC4. Now, here's a story to make you laugh. A man who is a senior government aide in Japan has had to apologise. So he got told off by his mum because he was pictured with his hands in his pockets when he was stood behind the Japanese Prime Minister while he was doing press interviews. So, yeah, it's Japan's deputy chief.
He's not a young man either, is he? I thought he was
secretary.
going to be about 24 or something.
To be fair, it does look bad, actually.
He still looks smart, though, doesn't he? He's got a very smart suit on.
Yeah, fair enough.
Apparently, his mum disagreed and rang him up to say she was ashamed of his behaviour and suggested that he should sew up his pockets to prevent it happening again.
That's pretty extreme.
I know. Didn't you tell me the story, Alan, about when your kids' friends used to come round to the house? Because you used to tell them off, didn't you?
My eldest daughter was, her name was Natalie, and the kids used to knock on the door to come out and play. Is Natalie in? Is Natalie in? And I, being pompous and pretentious, would say, there is no child called Natalie at this address. Oh, I'd say, you mean Natalie? And these little 5-year-olds would just look at me. But I feel I was making a point.
Yeah. I had that with my friend who was from, you will relate to this, so she's from Essex, and her name, to me, is Jo. Ooh. Now, her name to her family is Jow.
Yeah.
So, like, I used to ring her house back in the day of landlines and be like, is Jo there? And they'd be like, there's no girl called Jo here. There's a Jow. Do you want to speak to Jow? Yeah. It's your weird friend from the north, Jow.
Well, I'm Russell, aren't I? I'm permanently Russell. R-O-O-S-E-L-L.
Yeah.
Russell.
You've been telling off your Auntie Christine, haven't you?
Yeah, so it's the other way around. Christine, the busier the restaurant, the more she seems to do it. She's incapable of standing without a drama noise. And some of them, she'll be like, "Ugh!" as she gets up. And it's really embarrassing. And a noise with each step, And the first time I ever met, because Christine notoriously will just come out with whatever's at the front of her mind. The first time I went over to Lindsay's house to meet her mum, which is a high-pressure situation for any man, they just said to Christine, whatever you do, just don't say anything, OK, to spoil it. And so what she did was she said nothing. She didn't say hello, and she just smiled at me. I thought there was something wrong. I thought I nearly dialed 111 for some medical assistance. She stared the whole time. And if I went, so what's your story? She went, eh?
What about in restaurants? Isn't it quite funny when she asked to try the meal before?
They're still talking. So I've got a nice pub walking distance from my house. We went for Freddie, this is the reaction I want from you. We went for a nice Sunday roast, not overly posh, just well cooked, Cheshire Town Sunday roast. And Christine couldn't decide between the beef and the chicken. What do you think she did? She said, "Can you bring a sample of beef from the kitchen?"
No way.
They brought 2 slices of beef. She tasted it and she said, "I'll take the chicken." And then she kept the side plate of beef and ate it as a side order.
I love it.
They're still talking about it in the pub.
I should say, Christine's obviously not here to defend herself.
She loves it.
She's brilliant. We've had her on the show. Do you remember when we first started the show and you two went ghost hunting together? We love Auntie Christine.
She can't see what's wrong. Well, what's wrong with that? I didn't know if I'd like the beef.
Yeah. You've been told off by your mum for having your hands in your pockets.
Oh, she used to do it all the time, actually. It's a bad habit of mine. Now I actually do it to Tristan now, actually, funny enough. So, yeah. Just obviously...
Why does it matter, though?
What's wrong with pocket? I didn't know.
It's slouchy, doesn't it? Particularly if you're on duty like he was.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, no, Alan, does it? It doesn't matter if you put your hands in.
Matter, Russell, matter.
Lovely. Right. Still to come on the show. When it goes a bit soft, do you know how to get it hard again? Maybe you have trouble making things last longer. We are going to help. I'm talking food. Jackie Bailey from Love Food Hate Waste is teaching us the products you don't need to chuck even after they reach their expiry dates. Plus, we're meeting the all-female RLNI rescue team who are fighting to break the mould and get more women involved in saving lives at sea. We'll see you after the break. Hello, welcome back. Now, the Royal National Lifeboat Institution is the charity saving lives at sea and is an important part of our emergency services. Surprisingly, though, only 10% of them are women. So when the RNLI Cullercoats Station in North Shields recently trained up its first all-female crew, it felt like a huge milestone. So here to tell us all about it are four of the crew members, Anna Heslop and her mum Kay Heslop, and Sarah Whitelaw and Rosie Short. Thank you so much for joining us. It's really interesting, this idea of there being so few women doing it and you guys being like the first all-female team to have gone out training together. So, Anna, tell me a bit about how you ended up getting involved in the RNLI.
So I got involved kind of accidentally. I got involved when I was 17, so 10 years ago. And I was walking my dogs along the seafront near Cullercoats, and a young lad jumped in the sea and got swept away. And the only thing I knew, because I don't have a maritime background, the only thing I knew from my mum was do not go in after him.
Yeah.
And ran round like the promenade after him, threw my life ring, called the Coast Guard, and I rang 999, but I didn't know who to ask for, so I asked for the Sea Police because I'd seen too many in-betweeners episodes. And they brought the lifeboat round from Cullercoats and they saved his life. And a few days later, I got invited down to go and have a look around, and they kept saying the lads, the guys, the men. And I said, do you have any women? And they said, no. So I asked, how do I join? And 3 days later, I was signed up and I've never left.
Oh, that's amazing. And am I right in thinking that you even, because you get contacted when there's an emergency and you're about to do an A-level and you got a call out, is that?
Yeah, so I was staying at my grand's house and we got a call at 5 o'clock in the morning and I had an exam at 9 o'clock. And I went to run out the house and she went, don't you dare. She went, get back to bed.
Don't want to miss your A-level.
Yeah.
But you've done loads of operations since then, haven't you? And so tell me, Mum Kate, how did you get involved? Because you got involved after Anna.
I did, yes. It was just through Anna, really, because I got roped into a bit of fundraising and then I took minutes for meetings, did a bit of banking, got involved in people management, and then when the lifeboat operations manager role came up, I applied, and the rest's history.
Yeah, so tell me what your job is then.
I'm the lifeboat operations manager at Cullercoats, so I have to ensure that the boat is ready for service, that the kit is right, make sure the building defects are sorted. It's a bit of everything. And people management, it's very much a people job, making sure people are developed and they have the opportunities to train and learn and be the best they can be.
Yeah, and Sarah, you're one of the newest members, aren't you? Tell me about how you got involved and what the training's been like.
Yeah, I've been there about 6 months now and it's been fantastic. You get trained in things that you never thought you'd need to know, skills that you never thought you'd learn. But yeah, everybody's been really supportive. People come from all different kind of backgrounds, so it means that you learn skills from all different people, and so you feel really, really prepared for when you do get your pager. So you really do feel prepared to go out and save a life.
How does it work then? Can you explain about that then? You know, you mentioned there about the pager. So what happens?
So Anna, it's best to
go on, because you're the kind of captain of the helm that they called, aren't you?
So when the pager goes off, so it actually will go to our launch authorities first. So part of Mum's role is as a launch authority. So the Coast Guard will contact the launch authorities and request the lifeboat. So then Mum and others who are in that launch authority role will say, yes, the lifeboat can go, set the crew pagers off, and then our pagers will be set off and we'll come down to the lifeboat station and, do that if someone needs rescuing. So we can actually go from fast asleep in bed to launching that lifeboat in 4 minutes.
In 4 minutes?
We're a very, very fast
Yeah, and I'm guessing you all live really close by as well.
We do. In Cullercoats, I mean, a lot of the houses are around the top, overlooking the bay, which is why we can get out so quickly.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a very beautiful part of the world. Rose, you're a teacher as well, aren't you, while juggling all of this? So can you tell me a bit about when you're doing the training and things and how you do juggle it with your full-time job?
I'm quite fortunate. I work for a really, really supportive, incredibly supportive school. They support me with the role that I do there, the RNLI as a charity, and just especially this message that we're trying to get out to other people about all-female launch crew. They are really supportive in terms of my pager went off at 1 o'clock on a Monday morning. I was back in bed by 3 o'clock, back up by 5:30 to go to school, and that's quite hard work in terms of that, but copious amounts of caffeine do help you get through the day, to be quite honest, because it doesn't matter when the pager goes off, we're going to respond.
What's scarier, kids or being in the lifeboat?
kids.
Yeah, and Sarah, can I ask you as well about what the training involves? Like, what have you had to do and how often do you do it?
So we train twice a week, on a Wednesday night and a Sunday morning, and it involves a bit of everything, really. So it's everything from learning how to tie knots and steering the boat, anchoring the boat, mooring the boat, casualty care, but it's also kind of other skills like engaging with people, being able to support people in a crisis situation if it's related to their mental health or their well-being as well.
Yeah. What's the most memorable one you've been on in terms of missions?
It's been quite a lot over the last 10 years, but for me, the one that stands out at the moment is my first proper shout as a helm. So it was the first time I was actually in charge of that boat. And we got called out when we were already on exercise, and we got called to paddleboarders in difficulty. And we have seen an increase in jobs to paddleboarders, but we got called to two of them. And as we came round the pier end at Tynemouth, we saw one of them he was going down like a stone. And that turned out to be the dad of a child who we later rescued. And it was that typical hand in the water when we got to them. And my crew were fantastic. They were absolutely brilliant. They managed to pull him out of the water. And as soon as he got on board, because we'd gone for him first, as soon as we got on board, we got him on board, he said, go and get them. Well, we'd only seen one more person. And it was when we got to the other person, who was his partner, she had a 2-year-old between her legs.
Oh, God.
And they were quite far out to sea. And when we got them on board, the mum was diabetic and she had a hypo. So we had a father who was near drowning, a mum who was having a hypo, and then a 2-year-old child, and we managed to bring them back.
Is everyone all right?
Everyone's absolutely fine.
Oh my God! Wow! Thank God you could do that.
And it was very shocking because it all happened very quickly. But to be able to bring a full family back, without a scratch on them was quite amazing.
God, I mean, you clearly do amazing work. Rose, as a teacher, what would you say about, trying to get more women to come and work with the RNLI? Because clearly you get so much out of it and you're really needed too.
I think the most important thing is that it doesn't matter what your gender is. There's a role for everyone. There's a skill set that we could use from everyone. Like when I was at primary school, I loved football. I'm not saying I was any good at it, but I was allowed to play with the boys' team. By the time I got to secondary school, I wasn't allowed to play the boys' team anymore, and there was no girls' team. So I ended up having to sit and play netball, which I'm not very good at. I can't catch a ball, to be quite honest. So I sat on a bench for 3 years and did something I didn't want. But times have changed, society's views have changed. Yeah, there's still work to be done, but the increase up to 10% of women in the RNLI now is massive, and it's shown that we are changing ways, and we can use everyone's skill set, quite honestly.
Yeah. What do you think, Sarah, the key skills you need? Just for anyone watching at home thinking, I might find out about my local RNLI.
I think it depends on the role that you go into, really. I mean, there's crew, but there's also fundraising, there's shop manager. So really, whatever skills you've got, as long as you're a team player, and I think as long as you're willing to learn and you're willing to engage with people, I think that's all that you need, really. You don't need to have a maritime background. You don't need seamanship skills. You can learn everything when you're there, but it's just about wanting to learn.
Yeah, which is good for so many different things, isn't it, in life? Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it, and thanks for everything you're doing to keep us safe as well. Still to come, we all know there are two types of people in this world, those who keep their ketchup in the cupboard and the weirdos who put it in the fridge. We'll be finding out which way is correct as part of our masterclass in how to make your food last longer. Plus, Style Queen Nana Anchampong is showing us some of the amazing clothes you can pick up whilst you're doing your big shop.
Yes, I've been dashing around all the major supermarkets to find the best fashion. I've got everything from jumpers to skirts, joggers and fancy frocks, and everything is £25 or under.
Oh, lovely. We've even got sound effects. I like it. See you after the break. Hello, welcome back. Still to come. He's recently finished a stint in Panto with Dawn French and Julian Clary at the London Palladium. Ventriloquist Paul Zerdin is here to tell us all about it. Oh, he looks like he's got a new puppet too.
This is my new puppet. Say hello, Russell.
Hello, Russell. I hate to think where your hands are.
I can't unsee this.
Take it out, take it out.
There's no going back.
And And we know our Freddie has always got his fingers in lots of different pies. Yeah. But today, it's a phyllo pastry one, isn't it?
It is a very, very healthy pastry, only using sort of flour and water. I've got mine stuffed with halloumi and vegetables. Super cost-effective and under £2, so absolutely perfect.
Sounds lovely. Now, last week we were talking on the show about use-by dates on food, and everyone then had their own theory about how long after you're still OK to use it. So today we thought we'd get an expert in. The UK produces 9.5 million tonnes of food waste every year, and almost half of it is still edible. So Jackie Bailey is here from Love Food, Hate Waste. Thanks for joining us, because it's been in the news a lot, hasn't it, about... we were talking last week about Asda taking away some of the expiry dates. Why are they looking at removing expiry dates on some things?
So there's a range of supermarkets and manufacturers who are removing the use-by dates so that we can eat them for longer. So it's brilliant news.
Yeah.
They're doing it on items like yoghurts, milk, hard cheeses, pasteurised juices, and it just means that we can waste less food because we can continue to eat them.
Because that is a big problem, isn't it?
Massive, yeah.
What, you know when you see best before date and then you see used by date, is that a different thing?
Yeah, totally different. So use by is all about safety. If you've got a use by date on an item of food, you must use it by that date, otherwise it could make you really poorly. If it's going to go out of date and its use by date is coming up, just pop it in the freezer. That preserves it so you can eat it at a later date. Best before is just about quality, and it's just a guide. So you can use all of your senses, you can look at it, feel it, smell it, taste it.
What types of food would be used by then, typically?
Could be a range of any food. So historically, as we've said, yoghurts and milk would have had use-by dates on, but they're starting to take those off.
I mean, my mum or my nan would just, like, sniff it and go, no, that's good.
Yeah, so if it's best before, you can do that and just check. If you think you're happy with it, use your judgment and you can just carry on eating it.
So my question is, what are the top wasted foods then?
So potatoes, bread, milk, and cooked meals, actually. We're really bad at overcooking. So we tend to cook too many potatoes, pastas, rice, and then we don't know what to do with it. And a lot of people wouldn't think to use those as leftovers, but you can just pop them in the fridge, use it for your packed lunch the next day, or put it in the freezer. Again, it's just like pressing pause. Put it in the freezer, put a label and a date on, and then you've got yourself a free meal somewhere down the line on a day that maybe you haven't got time to cook anything.
And then what with cost of living crisis, that's going to have financial impacts. If you can make, particularly, we talk a lot on this show about fresh, real ingredients, but they're the most expensive ones. So it's got a financial impact and an environmental impact, right, if we can make good food go longer.
Yeah, absolutely. So, absolutely, using fresh ingredients and then freezing them to have a meal later is a great idea. There's massive financial and environmental impact on food waste. So think about all of the energy that goes into creating the food, the land, the water, the transport, getting it all over to our supermarkets. That's an absolutely massive environmental impact, as well as the greenhouse gases that come off, the methane that comes off food that's rotting. So we really don't want to be throwing food away. As well as that, talking about the cost of living, we know on average UK households waste over £700 a year on food they could have eaten. That's about £60 a month. So we really can be doing a huge amount to reduce our food waste.
And I think, sorry, my voice is going a bit funny. It can be hard to know, can't it? Well, it can for me. You probably know all the answers about which foods will last how long. And, I always worry I'm not going to get it right, but you're going to test us on some of the foods, aren't you?
Yeah, so I've got a little quiz for you.
Excellent. We love a quiz.
We love a quiz. So, an apple, Steph. How long do you think an apple will generally last for?
I would say normally about a week.
So they will last for about a month in your fruit bowl.
Oh, will they?
But if you put them in your fridge, you're going to get at least 3 months out of apples.
Yeah. No.
Really? 3 months for an apple?
And maybe even longer. So, again, there won't be a use-by date on an apple. So if you look at it and it looks fine, you think it's OK to eat, then you can eat it.
And when is it not fine? How would it look if it wasn't fine?
I don't know, it might go a little bit mushy, but then you can still put it in a recipe and put it in a cake, put it in a smoothie. So there's lots of things you could do with it.
Well, that's good to know. What's next?
So, Russell.
Uh-oh.
Potatoes.
There's no need for that.
How long do you think a potato would last?
Not long, because in the cupboard they've got those little roots coming out of them within a few days. Like a dark cupboard is literally what a potato's looking for when it wants to have babies.
Well, that's a really interesting one. So it would previously have been store it in a cupboard and it would have lasted about a month. But if you put it in your fridge, that's new advice, it'll last for at least 4 months. And again, if you get these little knobbles on, just take them off and you can just eat it as normal.
What are those little knobbles?
It's the roots. It's trying to turn into a plant.
So you can just eat it as a normal potato.
No. Next
one. So, Freddie.
Yeah.
Honey. How long do you think that lasts for?
I mean, personally, me being a chef, I think honey certainly will last for a long time, you know, simply because, you know, all running honey will go back to its natural form after a period of time. Crystallization occurs. So at least, you know, decades, I would probably imagine so for sure, no doubt about it.
So honey is another interesting one. So we would say put all your fresh fruit and veg in the fridge because it lasts so much longer, except bananas that tend to go brown.
Yeah.
So keep them in your banana bowl. But with honey, this is one thing we wouldn't say to put in the fridge because, as you say, it crystallises when it gets really, really cold. If it does crystallise, though, you can just put it in some hot water or stir it into a recipe and then it's good as new.
So how long does it last?
I can't really say how long it does last, but a long, long time. It's got a really long shelf.
Didn't they find it in some Egyptian tomb and it was still going strong after about 1,000 years or something?
There you go. Would you eat it after 1,000 years, Russell?
Yeah, it was 3,000 years.
You won't be here 1,000 years, then?
Yeah, shut up. I'm going to be here in 3,000 years.
Great, so next one, ketchup and condiments. This is for you, Russell.
Well, they keep forever, don't they? They're almost long-life products.
No, they're not. Surely mayonnaise isn't.
Yeah, it has at least 6 months on it, but then if you're going it after 7 or 8 months, it's normally absolutely fine, because you would definitely refrigerate those.
Yeah, so keep it in your cupboard when you buy it. Once you've opened it, put it in the fridge.
Ketchup in the fridge?
Absolutely.
I just keep it in the cupboard.
Oh, no.
Mayo I put in the fridge because it's got eggs in, but ketchup...
So you need to look at the label because it will advise you what to do, and it will vary. It will vary in terms of how long you can keep it afterwards.
But how long, roughly? A year?
It just really depends. Just depends on the product. Sorry, Russell.
No.
I can't.
It depends how many pints you've had. That's good.
So what? But like months, though, the condiments could last?
It could be. It really depends on the product.
Right, okie doke.
So the next one, frozen food. Russell, how long do you think you should keep frozen food?
Well, I know that varies, because fish, you're not supposed to go past about 6 weeks. Red meat can do 3 months. As for vegetables, you know, I've got some Roman pottery knocking around at the bottom of the freezer. I keep forever. A newspaper clipping with the Titanic sinking on it.
So our advice is 3 to 6 months.
Right.
And again, if you label it up so you know what's in there, we know that people's freezers can be really chaotic, and we refer to UFOs, so unidentified frozen objects in your freezer.
I hate those.
Label it up, you know what food you're getting out, and then you can defrost it really safely either in your fridge or in your microwave. Don't leave it on the side.
Yeah. And you've got some quick tips for making your food, well, bringing your food back to life if it's looking a bit dodgy, haven't you?
Yeah, so an avocado, when you chop it in half, it starts to oxidise, so it goes quite brown. But if you just put a little bit of lemon juice on it, wrap it in cling film, keep the stone on, put it in your fridge, it'll last for a long, long time. It's absolutely fine to eat it when it's gone a bit brown, but it just doesn't look quite as attractive.
Yeah. And what about the carrot?
The carrot, well, carrots tend to really dehydrate in the fridge.
Yeah.
So if you just chop the end off, pop it in water, it'll rehydrate it. And this is honestly one that I made earlier.
Oh,
and it's as good as new now.
Yeah. So, God, because you'd think that would just make it go mouldy, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, it rehydrates it.
A nose job for a snowman, isn't it?
We've got loads and loads of tips like this, recipe ideas on lovefoodhatewaste.com if you want to head over.
Lovely, thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Still to come, Rylan better watch out because someone's after his job on Supermarket Sweep. It's our fashion expert, Nana Anchampong.
Yes, I am. I've been dashing around all of the supermarkets because I cannot get enough of the amazing clothes that they've got in at the moment. We've got a whole outfit for £46, including everything and the shoes.
Oh, lovely. And he won America's Got Talent and had his own show in Vegas. It makes total sense that he's now here in the Pack Lunch studio, ventriloquist Paul Zerdin, and his puppet Sam are here. I hear you have some gossip about Dawn French for us.
Oh, that's true.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, we just finished doing Panto at the Palladium with Dawn.
Yes, she's actually my biological mother.
What do you mean? How could you mean your biological mother? You're made of sponge.
Yeah, she had a thing with Paul Hollywood.
Wait until you hear what Dawn told us about you two as well this morning. We'll hear that later. See you after the break. Hello, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. We were talking earlier in the show about having second children, and funnily enough, it's just been announced by the palace, by the royal family, that Princess Eugenie and her husband Jack are having their second child. So a bit of good news. They obviously heard the programme, got at it. There we are. All happens fast in daytime telly. Still to come on the show today, when you hear the beep, it's time for Supermarket Sweep. We're not trolley dashing for big inflatables, though. You can put those down. Fashion queen Nana Anchampong is helping us find some amazing outfits.
Yes, I've been round Asda, Tesco, Morrison's and Sainsbury's, and they've got some amazing outfits in at the moment. They've upped their game, and all for £25 or less.
Lovely. Also, we're talking about revenge after pop icon Miley Cyrus got back at her ex with a brand new song that's broken streaming records. Plus, his revenge is a dish best served cold. But today, Freddie Forster's in the kitchen making a nice, warm, circular pie for us. What's the circumference of it, then?
Yes, it's 3.14159, Steph, and it will be filled with halloumi and vegetables, including all of your 5 a day.
Oh,
Absolutely beautiful.
Oh, that's still to come. Now, my next guest never gets to speak for himself. He can't get a word in edgeways because there's always someone else chipping in for him. His name is Sam, and he is a puppet belonging to comedian and ventriloquist Paul Zerdin. The two of them will be telling us all about the cheeky antics they've been getting up to. But first, let's see the amazing moment they wowed the judges with their ventriloquism skills on Britain's Got Talent, The Champions.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It is great to be here. It's great to be here on Champions tonight. On Champions tonight at Wembley. At Wembley. Are you copying me?
Are you copying me?
Oh, don't start all this.
Oh, don't start all this.
It's so annoying. So annoying. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You know, he always does this.
You know, he always does this.
He will stop.
Eventually.
Thank you so much for joining us. Can I ask, Paul, first of all, how did you get into ventriloquism?
Well, I was a lonely child, and
He had no friends at all.
no, I was kind of infatuated with the Muppets. Really, I was brought up watching Sesame Street. Is that right? That is right, yeah. And I was in love with Ernie and Bert and Kermit and those Muppet things. Well, I didn't know about ventriloquism. I knew about puppets as growing up, so they were my kind of big influences. And I loved magic and comedy, so I knew that I wanted to do something
a bit weird.
Yeah. Because, Sam, you are Paul's oldest character, aren't you, despite your youthful looks?
Oh, yes.
Where did you come from, then? How were you created?
So I actually carved Sam out of I
can't believe you're going to tell them this.
I carved Sam out of a block of foam with an electric carving knife and built him myself. And I just had this idea for a kind of cheeky kid. And in the past, ventriloquists had been spooky, scary. They've been old-fashioned, you know, those kind of traditional-looking dolls with a drop jaw, and they always end up being some sort of, you know, kind of psycho serial killer or something in a movie. I thought that I should have some sort of Muppety thing, so I had this kind of Muppet kid inside me, and Sam was born.
Yeah, I'm here, Steph.
And it's nice to be here, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've been all over the place. And you were saying we just finished, you know, the panto at the Palladium.
Yeah.
We've also been touring around, and we're on tour again, but we were touring around. We were in Wales the other week.
Yeah, I like Wales.
Yeah, beautiful place, beautiful people. But they don't have to get upset when you mispronounce their place names. But we've been working on this, and Sam can now say the name of that famous place in Wales. Are you ready?
Yeah, clear my throat. Cardiff.
I love that. What was it like for you guys when you won America's Got Talent? Because that is massive, isn't it?
It was a crazy time, really. I never expected to win it. I thought I was doing quite well, and I thought I would probably get to the finals because of the reaction that had been up to that point with the golden buzzer and everything. But I thought they would vote for an American. So when they voted for a Brit, I genuinely was dumbfounded. And my reaction, if you see it or you saw it, it was a mixture of complete and utter surprise, euphoria, and jet lag, because I was crossing, I was flying backwards and forwards doing, you know, for all the heats, because I was working all over the place. I was working on ships. I think I was working on a ship in Norway just before I went back and did the finals.
Yeah.
So it was a really crazy time, but it was amazing. And then Sam went and ruined it all. What are you talking about? Yeah, you ruined everything, didn't you? You told Simon Cowell to shut it.
Well, he acts like he owns the whole show.
Do you know what his trouble is? Tell me.
Judgmental.
But he is a judge, and he's... All right, that's enough.
Because you also did a residency in Vegas as well. What was that like? And do you have to change your kind of comedy depending on where you are in the world?
Well, I had worked on American cruise ships, so I was aware of an American audience, and I knew that most of my material worked for them.
Most of it.
Most of it. But when I went to Vegas, Vegas was like a sort of a weird melting pot. It's a melting pot of all different people from America, around the world, but particularly America. So you had people in the casino that would come and see your show who were fans of AGT. And then there you had people that, you know, had been given comps by the hotel, so they came in with free tickets, so they didn't know what they were going to see, but they were going to see a show in the casino, in their hotel. Then you had people that were just drunk and just kind of fell into the venue and started watching this puppet show. And then you had people who had lost their life's earnings on blackjack. So it was a real mixture of an audience. And I have to say, it was really hard work at first, and then we eventually kind of got the hang of it.
Yeah. Coming back to your recent stint at the London Palladium, I had a conversation with Dawn French, who you starred with in it this morning.
Yeah.
And Sam, I've got a question for you. She says that when you weren't with Paul, you were fishing for other work. She said, side stage, when Paul couldn't see, you were fishing for the work and you actually want to go it alone.
Actually, if I'm honest, Zerdin's Heller's Day, I am auditioning new ventriloquists. And I have to say, it's not looking good for you.
Oh, thank you very much. You know, working with Dawn and Julian and Nigel and Gary Wilmot and everyone, Alexander Burke, we had an amazing time, and you kind of you become like a little family. It's a very intense period, and there was a moment where there's me, Sam.
Thank you.
And there's Gary Wilmot. He was the
Dame.
Well, Dawn was Dame Trot, so was mine and Sam's mum, and then Gary was the Queen, and then we had Jill, who's the princess, and we all have to, we all kind of like, you know, just sort of saunter on, and there's the giant. There's a moment, and you know there's a moment when sometimes your brain just goes completely blank, and you've been doing 2 shows a day, 6 days a week after week, and suddenly there's nothing there. But we were all huddled up, and there was a day when there was a slight gap, and I felt, and Dawn's holding onto my arm like this, and I felt her just squeeze it, and I knew, oh, it's me, it's my go. So we help each other. And we used to do a routine, myself, Julian, Clary, and Dawn, where it's a bit of a tongue twister. It's about poisonous pythons hissing in a pit.
Yes.
And you have to be careful how you say that.
Yes. Oh, yes, you do, but I don't.
And there were a couple of moments where we looked at each other, and I could see in Dawn's eyes, she's thinking, "What's next?" And there'd be days where she'd look at me, and I would give her a look of, I don't know what's coming, but it just comes out.
Yeah, because she sent this to me. Is it Miss Patty Hiscock's Pythons hissing in a pit in a popular public performance piece in Pimlico?
There you go.
And you kept saying that over and over again, all in your routine. I don't know how you did it. Is it true as well, whenever you walk on stage, you always have a mouthful of water so that no one will speak to you because you can't respond?
Well, that's funny, because I used to say hi to Dawn as we started the show, and because I would have to go underneath the stage to go to the other side, to stage right, I never had a bottle of water with me, and I thought if I took my bottle of water that side, I finished and come off this side, so I'd then not have my bottle. So I just used to take a big gulp, which meant I couldn't talk to anyone on my way from my opening scene. That's the reason for that.
I love that. I love all the backstage stuff. But Sam's not your only character, though, as well.
No.
Tell us about the one inspired by your bodyguards in Vegas, because they're here as well.
Let me do this. Sleep. OK. So just going to put you down here for a second. So when I was doing Vegas, and then after I finished the Vegas show, I went and toured Canada and America, casinos all over the place, and they treat you like you're some sort of, you know, big celebrity, and I just thought, this is just me doing my puppet show, you know, touring around. Anyway, they would have a big, burly security guard, and I had 1 or 2, you know, on different occasions, and so they would walk you through the casino. And so anyway, I had a a bodyguard built, and this is Roger. OK, he's very suspicious. This is not Simon Cowell, by the way. It's Roger. Let me take the glasses off. There we go. There we are. So this is Steph.
Hi.
And Roger, you come from a long line of bodyguards, don't you? Yeah, that's right. A long line of bodyguards. My tar and his tar and his tar the Thorin. What about your pa's pa? What? Tata? Hang on a minute. Your pa's pa was called Papa? No, he was called Don. Papa Don? Yeah, Tata Don. What did Papa Don do? Tata Don do? Yeah, what did Papa Don do? Tata Don do? Oh, well, he's the projectionist at the local movie theatre. They used to call him ta-ta, 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 ta-ta. Hey there. Who's this? This is Steph. Steph is our host. It's her show. Steph, I was not informed of this. Well, it's OK. I gotta interrogate her. You can't interrogate the host, Roger. I'm just gonna get her to talk. You know, funny enough, that's kind of what I do. Yeah? Yeah, I make things talk. You won't get me to talk. No? No, I'm fully trained. Well, so am I. Go on, then. What? Make me talk. I just did. Do it again. I'd say nothing. I just did. What'd I say? I'm saying nothing. Oh, so you want me to get you to talk? No, I'm just repeating what I made you say. I said nothing. No, you said I'm saying nothing. No, you said I'm saying nothing. Well, the fact is I said I'm saying nothing twice. You see, I'm a ventriloquist. When I talk, I talk. When you talk, I talk. The fact is you're not really talking. I'm talking with the both of us. So what have I said? Well, nothing. Told you I wouldn't talk.
And you guys, I know you're going back out on tour as well, and the tickets for Paul's new tour are available now. So that's later this year, isn't it? From September.
September onwards.
Brilliant. Oh, well, good luck with it all, and thank you so much for coming in. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Still to come, he's getting in the mood for love. Oh, God. No. Please stop. Russell is modelling one of the picks from our supermarket fashion haul. Nana will be here with the rest after the break. Hello, welcome back. Now it's time for a fashion parade. This week, our style queen, Nana Anchampong, is taking us to the supermarket to show us what styles we can get our hands on. And you've found some belters, haven't you? All for less than 25 quid.
I have indeed. I've literally been all over the supermarkets, all the major ones. And I think in the past, they weren't known for doing fashion, but year on year, they've just got better and better.
And we're here in our glamorous supermarket with our trusty shelf stacker Russell as well, just in case we need to pick anything else. I'll leave you to it, Russell.
Yeah, such a great set. You're, in fact, wearing
this is all supermarket. I've got a bit of Tesco on top, Asda on the bottom.
I love that. I love that. Now, talking of supermarkets, we're going to start with Joyce and her outfit. Hello, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good, good. Now, Joyce's dress is £12 and it's from Morrison's, and her cardigan is £16 from Asda. Now, obviously, what I love about this is the colour, but you've got a whole dress for £12. Like, that is an absolute bargain. And in winter, you can layer it up with a cardigan, a blazer, polo neck on top, pair it with boots, or as soon as it gets to summer, we whip off the cardigan. And then obviously she can wear it with sandals, we can belt it, and she's got a whole summer look. So it's a really...
Do you want to unbutton it? It shows what the arms are like.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear our load your shopping bag?
Multitask, you know.
I know,
She's got it. I can take your cardigan.
Thank you.
Green on green. Oh, this is strapped to you.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's lovely, isn't it?
Oh, and I've lost my cards.
Chaos in the aisle.
How nice.
This is exactly what happens to me when I go shopping. And normally I have a 3-year-old on the floor kicking and screaming while I'm doing it. Oh, there we are. That looks lovely, doesn't it, as well? Love that.
Great summer dress.
I'm actually going to pair that with some salt and vinegar crisps, because we know green matches with the outfit. You, after all, Joyce, are a salt.
This is a green on green, Joyce. I'm going to give you your cardigan as well. There we go. Right, next up we've got Michelle. Looking gorgeous.
Love this look.
I know. I think this is my favourite one. Michelle is in a jumper, which is £18 from Sainsbury's, and the skirt is also from Sainsbury's at £18. Obviously, the graphic print is really, really versatile because it's got so many colours in it that you can pick out. We've obviously picked out the orange to match you today. Orange. It's just one of those colours that is all over the supermarket and the high street at the moment. And then it's with court shoes, but you could also wear it with boots or trainers. wear it for the office if you change the jumper into a blazer with a top underneath. So it's a really, having a midi skirt in your locker is a really, really good choice.
And Michelle, you actually got stopped in the street, didn't you?
I did,
Outside by our lifeboat guys.
No way!
To tell you
You
look
did.
fabulous.
They said you look fabulous.
You
Absolutely.
do look fabulous.
Honestly.
How do you feel?
I feel like I can do can-can with this.
You don't you stop, Michelle. Thank you very much. That's brilliant.
I've got
Amazing. Oh,
I
here
thought
comes
to match with the outfit, I've got a carrot which we hydrated earlier with Jackie.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Next up, we've got Tamale.
Yeah, nice
Love
jumper.
this. So, dopamine dressing. You know I love colour. I love this jumper just because it is going to inject a real burst of colour into your wardrobe. Obviously, we've got Valentine's Day coming up next. This jumper is actually £16 from Asda, so another bargain. Joggers are £18 from Morrison's, and the high tops are £12.50 from Asda. So this whole outfit in total, £46, like absolute bargain. And yeah, how are you feeling in this as well?
I love it. It's so comfortable. It's so everyday. Like, this jumper is everything. I think I'll wear it every day this month.
It's such a nice colour.
I
It really
love it.
looks really bright and
I
vibrant.
love pink and red together as a colour combo as well. So brilliant.
Love
Thank
that.
you
Thanks,
so much,
Thank
Tamale. Russell's got
A jumper of love.
Thank you.
Thanks, honey.
All right, honey. I've really thought about these. I'm really into it.
Yeah, it is actually scaring me.
Next up, we've got Andrea.
Nice. Love that knit.
Andrea. Yes, so this knit is at £22 and it's also from Sainsbury's. Now, I love this again, more colour. I think it's really grey at the moment, so we just want to inject as much colour as possible into our wardrobes. Really oversized, so again, you can wear it with leather leggings or jeans and trainers. We've put it with boots. But yeah, do you feel nice and comfortable in this?
I do. I really love this jumper. It's really nice.
Yeah.
I love the trousers.
And they're from Tesco, the trousers, aren't they?
Yes, they are from Tesco's.
Yeah, lovely. You look great.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Lovely.
nice.
Thank you so
Warm
much.
and comforting pasta sauce. There's a mushroom as well. Chuck that in.
Thank you. And last but not least, we've got MJ. And MJ is in this dress, which is £17.50 from Tesco's. Now, you've heard me say that leopard print is a neutral before, so this is going to go with so much stuff in your wardrobe. Again, really great for now with a pair of trainers, or you could wear knee-high boots, chuck on a leather jacket. And yeah, this is one of my favourites as well.
Do you feel good in it, MJ?
I love this dress, and I think when you've got a busy life and you're running everywhere, it's just perfect. It's so versatile, so comfy. I love it.
Also, I want you to have a feel, Steph. It's really soft for £17.50.
Oh, wow!
It's really high quality.
Yeah, that feels gorgeous. I love
Doesn't
it?
it?
Stroke you all day, MJ. Brilliant, thank you.
That is me down the aisles.
It is a neutral, unflavoured, unsalted butter.
You actually look like you should be in Heidi High, don't you, with that outfit?
I'll make you a star, Steph. I'll put you on Channel 4.
That's us down the aisles.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
Thank you, Russell. I'm not sure what for, but thank you. Still to come, Freddie is showing us how to make an amazing phyllo pastry pie stuffed with halloumi, sweet potato, leeks and fungi. There's not much room for anything else, though. Oh, that's terrible, that one, sorry. Plus, we're talking about some more of our favourite stories, including the uproar caused by Kylie Jenner's outfit at Paris Fashion Week and the ultimate revenge another celebrity has had on an ex-husband. We'll see you after the break.
Skin the mushroom.
Hello, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. Right, since you lot are all style icons, I wanted to get your take on this. So, this is a dress that Kylie Jenner wore to Paris Fashion Week. Can you see that there? So that's a black dress with a lion's head on it. And the lion's head, I mean, it looks very realistic, but the designer has made clear that the lion's head is not real and stated that no animals were obviously harmed in making the garment. But it's caused a massive uproar, pardon the pun, with some people saying the dress glorifies trophy hunting. You were quite shocked by this, weren't you, Alan?
Yeah, I think it's horrible. Absolutely horrible. I mean, at a time when there is this issue about trophy hunting, and there are usually very overweight, multi-millionaires showing off dead animals that are rare species anyway, to do this, glamorise it in a fashion show, strikes me as incredible.
Yeah, because this is one of a number of dresses that was shown, all with different animals depicted on them
There's
in different
leopards
ways.
and...
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's...
But, Russell, you disagree?
Well, the dress is hideous. We agree on that.
Yeah.
Looks like Aslan's been attacked. That, however, is obviously fake. It's not a lion's head. It's more an ironic comment on how we shouldn't do things like that, in my opinion. Also, if I served up a juicy, vegan, realistic-looking steak with blood dribbling down my chin, am I converting vegans back to meat eaters? No, I'm eating a meat substitute and enjoying it.
Our very Hampstead dinner party.
Yeah,
that looks absolutely awful.
It looks awful, but who is it that looks at that and thinks, oh, I'm actually back into hunting real animals because I've seen the fake version? A small percentage...
Well, it's sort of, you know, it's quite natural to hunt animals now. We see them on fashion shows and all that. It's okay.
I don't think it'll encourage the use of real fur. I think no matter what your educational level, no matter where you're from, people understand fur is wrong and they're not going to be radicalised back into fur usage because some idiot stuck Aslan on her boob.
Martin, you think this is wrong, don't you?
It's the right tip.
Yeah, I think for me it's like an appropriation of something that doesn't even belong to sort of Western society. It's an African animal, first and foremost. And it reminds me of sort of the 19th century when the Europeans went back to Africa and did eradicate not only animals to the point of extinction, but people as well. It kind of, it's distasteful to me, personally, as an African man. So I think, it's something I don't really abide, personally.
Yeah, but Khadija, you're not bothered.
I'm really not bothered. I love fashion, and I love fashion that pushes the boundaries. It's clearly fake, you know, and for me, it's something... I do carnival. We imitate animals. We create these animal-like objects and we wear them. It's fashion, and I think that's what fashion is all about. It wouldn't encourage anyone to go hunting for animals or... It's none of those things. So I love the idea. I actually quite like that.
OK. We might see you that in it next week. Right, I want to talk about revenge now because Miley Cyrus has broken music records with her brand new song Flowers. It's reached more than 100 million streams a week on Spotify. And here's where the revenge bit comes in because it's reported the song is all about her ex-husband, Liam Hemsworth, and was released on the actor's birthday for a start. Ouch. It doesn't stop there, though, because the song appears to be a response to Bruno Mars' When I Was Her Man, a song which Liam is rumoured to have dedicated to Miley. So let's have a listen to show how similar they sound.
I should have bought you flowers. I can buy myself flowers and held your hand. I can hold my own hand. Should have gave you all my hours. Talk to myself for hours. Take you to every party, 'cause all you wanted to do was dance. I can take myself dancing.
So, yeah, this was meant to be a big song, the Bruno Mars one, between them. So she's literally rehashed it all to talk about, you know, holding her old hand. She filmed it in the house where he allegedly cheated on her. She's wearing his old suit in the video, the suit he wore when he told her to behave on the red carpet. She's obviously released it on his birthday. And it's a sample, it's got a sample of a song they danced to at their wedding. So, pretty punchy. Russell, have you ever taken revenge on an ex?
Listen, any ladies or men watching this, if you want to show someone that you're still hung up on them and obsessed and thinking about them daily, do what she just did.
Yeah.
If you want to show someone that they don't even enter your consciousness, do what I did. I released a memoir and reduced a 5-year relationship to a sentence. Fell in love, broke up, chapter 6. Yeah. Didn't even feature in my memories. I've had a few exes that have reacted like that, and the more that you bang on and make a noise, she's actually turned it into a song. She might as well say, I still love you, please come back to me.
But she might still love him.
But that is, I mean, what a crazy way of conducting yourself. I think it's tacky, it's over the top, and it communicates the opposite thing. It isn't, I told him, it's, I need you.
Yeah.
I mean, revenge is a big word, really. I don't like to use that word, really. I mean, I had a situation when I was starting my career. I had a teacher who never thought that I would do much in the catering world, to be honest. She actually told me that, you know.
Prove them wrong.
She told me that, you know, and I'm not saying that I've made it, but I think
you have made it. You're sat here with me, look.
Thank you.
I was going to say being head chef at the Ritz is
but
probably...
I think I've done pretty well, you know. So I'm more of the silent assassin type as opposed to sort of making a lot of noise about it. Really.
Yeah, I think that's what you have to do. No
Yeah.
matter how angry or whatever inside, you've just got to outwardly look really happy, and that will be more annoying to them.
But what I do is people who've upset me, I write into my next thriller as a bad character. So,
And then kill them off.
Steph is the main character in the...
You could just about work it out. Mr. Farage walked into the pub.
Yeah. Tamala, you got your revenge on an ex without knowing it, didn't you?
Yeah, it was an accidental revenge and it was so sweet. Like, we broke up and then I went on rebound dating and then just started dating this guy. I was just like, you know, for entertainment. And then, you know, he was really into me, trying to, you know, meet his friends and everything. And then he owned this business and he was like, you know what, I want to take you to my workplace so you can see where I work and everything. I was like, okay, great. I walked in with him hand in hand, not knowing that my ex was actually his employee. And
brilliant.
I was with the boss.
Yes, Queen.
Russell, we asked people to get in touch with us earlier, didn't we? What we're talking about, what they're saying?
Well, it was reported that the government, if you remember, could raise the retirement age. We asked if you would still be happy to be working at 68. Only 8% said yes, and a whopping 92 said no. The poll is still live on Twitter. Slightly skewed. My mum's 68 and definitely wouldn't know how to use a Twitter poll, so I'm not sure how scientific it is.
There's plenty of people who do, though.
Yes. Just my mum in that example, sorry. Trigger, warning. We also asked if you think there's pressure to have more children when you already have one. Diverse opinions, as you can imagine. Sean on Facebook says it doesn't matter how many you have. People will always ask you if you're having more. And I've found that telling people my dog is my third child stops people asking. I suppose particularly if you're still breastfeeding. Rachel on Twitter says she has one child and is fed up of people thinking one child is an easier choice. Yeah, we've had that, me and Lindsay. I've taken the easy route. Lindsay had that when she had a C-section, taking the easy route. Honestly. Brenda wishes her parents had more than one children and says she never liked being an only child. Did you like it, Steph? Were you in a world of imagination, made your own company?
Did I like what?
Being an only child. Did you like it? I loved
Although
playing
there were
on my own.
times when I did wish that I had, like, because, you know, I only ever really got to play board games in my house on Christmas Day, because that's when, my parents would sit and play. Not that, because they were obviously working a lot and stuff, not because they were neglecting me. But, and I always thought I wished I had a sister or brother then. But now I don't.
No.
No, I don't
You
care.
play in solitaire with a palm age 12.
Yeah. And I've got loads of friends, and, you know, your friends become your family,
that's
don't
all the
they?
comments.
Yeah, smashing. Right, shall we have some
cooking.
food? Yeah.
OK, off we go. Right.
What are we having again?
So we're doing phyllo pastry pie filled with halloumi and vegetables. One of my favourite dishes, and I think it'd be one of your favourites too, actually, after you've tasted it. That's a bold statement, but I'm gonna make it anyway. So we're going to start off here with just caramelising some vegetables. We've got some onions, we've got some mushrooms inside here, a bit of garlic that I've actually sweated down. And then what I've got here, I've got some sweet potato, which are also going to go inside. You can use any potatoes you want to. Sweet potato, you could use yam, whatever you wanted to. I've got some normal potato here. I've also got some leeks going inside as well. And like I said, you can also use whatever vegetables you want to, depending on the season and what you actually like. So that's what I would say.
And your cheese choice, halloumi.
So yeah, halloumi is a cheese which I think is very much underused, and I like using it because it has a very sort of high melting point, meaning that you can fry it to high degrees of temperature without it breaking down. So therefore, when you actually use it in something like a pie, it actually stays in its natural form. But I like to also use it with a little bit of cheddar cheese as well, just to make sure that you get a little bit of sort of softness, a bit of gooiness there, really, as well at the same time.
I like the way halloumi makes your teeth squeak.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's such a, dense type of, cheese, really, and it's made in a very specific way as well. It's made by curdling the milk when you separate the curds from the whey. So it's a very unique way of making this particular cheese itself. So that's going to be caramelised for a little while now. Now I'm going to do the next part, which is the pastry part. So here, I've got some phyllo pastry. Phyllo pastry is one of the pastry that is really... there's no fat involved. It's basically just using flour and water. So it's very, very healthy. What I've got here, I've got 4 little squares that I've brushed with a little bit of butter to make them slightly melted. That's so. Then what I'm going to do now is sprinkle a little bit of smoked paprika and oregano on top. mixed together, and a bit of salt on there. It's all about flavour. It's like that. So while this is caramelising now, I'm just going to add a touch of flour to that as well. This will stabilise everything. And then also a little bit of stock cube. When you're using stock cube, like here, you've got to be careful. It's very salty, so don't put too much salt in there. So that's a very, very good tip for you.
Yeah, because halloumi's a bit salty to start with, isn't it?
Absolutely. So mix all that in together. And all we're going to do now, we're making like a bit of a roux. So add a bit of milk in here now, and that's going to make like a lovely sort of thick sauce. And that's going to come to the boil and let it simmer for approximately about sort of 8 to 10 minutes, and it's going to look very much like this particular mass here. OK, which I'll pull that to one side, just like that. So once we've got it like that now, we take the other sheets of phyllo, and that goes on top, just like so. Just a bit more. Brush with a bit of butter. Just like that. Just like so.
I'm really enjoying watching this.
It's a very,
like one of those TikToks.
It's a very, very simple way to make a very effective and beautiful, cost-effective pie.
You painting phyllo pastry is something else.
Absolutely. And it's also very, very cost-effective, so it's under £2 per portion. Just like that.
Freddie, why are you doing smaller bits of phyllo on top? Why not just lay the other same size bits on top of each other?
I just like to do things quite fancy, you know me.
Okay.
So,
but when you fold it, it'll make different
absolutely,
edges.
just like that. And then what you do now, you take your pan, and then you just pick it up. That goes inside, and you push it to the corners, just like that. Put that to one side. Then you take this beautiful, nice mass that you have here now, mix that in with the remainder of the cheddar cheese. OK, just like that. And then we mix all that in together. And as you can see, you've got lovely pieces of vegetables in there. You've got lovely halloumi inside there. The kale's inside there as well. And that all just goes inside, just in the centre. You spread that to the corners now. And all you do, you just take that lovely excess pastry, and then you just fold that over. Just very rough, very rustic, no problems there, just like that. And then you've got the paper in there so that when you actually cook it, it comes out nice and easy. Just like that. Take a little bit more butter, brush that on top. Touch of cheese to give it that little effective sort of gooiness on there.
Is it going in the oven? Yeah.
That goes in the oven for about 25 minutes or so about half an hour, on 220 degrees. And then it comes out beautiful and golden brown. So that will go in the oven, which I'll do later on. So while that's going on, because halloumi is quite a rich, sort of dense type of flavour, and it's very rich in fat and everything, you need something to cut that. So here, I've got some cherry tomatoes, a bit of olive oil. I've got some lovely fresh basil, which I'm going to put in there as well. A touch of sugar for extra sweetness. And then also a bit of vinegar. Vinegar actually cuts the actual oiliness in there, so you need that sort of balance of piquancy. That goes in there, just like that. Mix that in. A little bit of pepper, a little touch of salt on there. And then also, for a bit of heat, I like to give a little bit of harissa in there as well. Throw that in there, mix that in, and that's going to be your lovely vinaigrette to accompany this beautiful...
So you're not chopping the tomatoes, you leave them whole?
Leave them whole, just like cutting in half, no more than that. So as you can see, that comes out the oven, and you've got this lovely, beautiful...
Oh, that looks good, doesn't it?
Beautiful, lovely, crispy...
Wow. Almost applauded there.
Pastry there, okay? And then now we're just going to
Freddie, that's your revenge pie. Take that.
Some lovely... Would you like a big slice?
Yes, please.
Nice slice there. There you go, one there. Bang. And what I love about this pie, it's so flaky, it's so light, and when you eat it, it's like you're not eating pastry. All you're going to get is this wonderful Moorish taste of pastry.
Do you know, before I knew what you were cooking,
yes,
I told my wife I was going to cook tonight this phyllo with beetroot and goat's cheese inside.
I think it would work very well. It's a lovely combination.
That's with that vinaigrette as well.
Absolutely. Very, very simple. There you go. That's for you, Steph.
Thank you.
It's like cooking.
One for you.
Yeah, do it all the time.
Amazing. That looks so posh as well, doesn't it?
Oh, my...
Like you paid
I'm at the
Ritz.
Thank you, yeah.
Should be very nice and light.
In my head, I'm at the Ritz.
So while Steph and the gang tuck in, if you fancy making my halloumi and vegetable pie, or any recipes from the show, just go to our Instagram page and search at Packed Lunch C4. So how do you find that, everybody?
Gorgeous.
Wonderful.
The flavour in that.
And the key thing as well is with halloumi, when you fry it off, you get a lovely caramelisation on the outside. So you actually increase the flavour of the cheese itself. So that's a very good tip.
Whereas the goat cheese will just melt.
It just melts away.
You could put paneer in there and garam masala and do like Indian
Absolutely.
version.
You could put lovely spices inside there.
Nice. So it's absolutely fabulous. I love that. Thank you very much, Freddie. Thanks, everyone. Tomorrow, SAS Who Dares wins. Jason Fox is here to tell us all about the new series and revealing how he escaped being chased by a grizzly bear. Plus, new health advice means millions more people could be given statins to cut the chances of heart attacks and strokes. But are they right for you? Dr. Sophie will be here to tell you all about it and explain how they work. And veteran broadcaster Andrew Neil will be here to give us his take on the stories, plus Denise Van Outen and John Waite. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.